I am Lo-Fi Thrasher Lenny Blade, and this is the Retro Hunter Thailand show. And today I will talk about my recent movie pickups for the past 2 months or so. So before we get into my footage, I will just show you, I got all of these from this one seller on Facebook Marketplace. Now unfortunately, they were all moldy. All of them. I should have understood it because, you know, it was only 250 baht, and when I specifically asked, are they moldy, there was no answer. But I was afraid that it would sell quickly, so I decided to take a chance. The only one that was not moldy was this one. Yes, Robocop 4 is a thing in Thailand. I think what they did was they took from the live action TV show and they cut some things together, and maybe it's even 1 episode or 2 episodes, I don't know, and they decided to call it Robocop 4, and they basically made that out of the live TV show. And then I got this one, Robot Wars. This one was very moldy as well, but I decided to keep the tape for this one because I am actually going to try and clean it later on together with my Led Zeppelin home video that I got. And then I also got some other. I decided to keep the covers of these, so it's Heart and Armor, Moonraker, the Mario Brothers movie, and Predator 2, which I already had. And Moonraker I actually did pick up, and I think that this will be in the video as well, but a different version of it. So anyways, let's take a look. Alright, we're down back at the table here, and the first thing I'm going to show you is something I was really happy about picking up. And this is the cartoon adaptation of the popular video game Streetfighter 2. Now this is something you don't see very often here. This is a Japanese cartoon, which later came to the US, localized to the US, and even Thailand got its own version, as you can see the Thai script there on the cassettes. And they come in these really neat looking sort of slip cases here. The first 10 episodes come in these slip cases, the rest come in a variety of different packaging. But all very cool, of course. This is something that you see very rarely, and when you do see them, they're often overpriced, or the cardboard covers would be in really bad shape, simply because of Thailand is a very moist country, so whenever you have cardboard or paper, it usually molds with age, or at least it gets bad. But these were, almost all of them were in good conditions, and the ones that weren't were still not moldy. They were just squashed a little bit here. Here is another cool case there, and I actually managed to take down the price. She wanted 80 baht per tape, and I actually sent her a message, and I said, if I get them for 60 baht per tape, I'll take all of them. And she agreed, so that was cool. She even sent me a message back saying that she had some other tapes, and asked me if I was interested in those, and I will show that a little bit later. Here you can see that not all the cases were in good condition here, but good enough. And I've tried watching a few of them, and they play perfectly. So this is something that's very cool and something that you rarely see. It wasn't even released in Europe, so that's a cool thing to get. Alright, so as I said before, the seller of the Streetfighter tapes also asked if I was interested in this lot. And this is the Japanese anime Cobra Space Adventure. And she asked me if I was interested in getting them for the same price. These were also up for 80 baht, and I told her I'm not really interested. So but I asked her if I can get them for 50 baht, I'll take all of them, and she agreed. So we had another deal, and this is a series that's a little bit more geared towards adults. There's a lot of scantily clad women and the violence in these cartoons. And I like that sort of thing, as you know. So this will be a good watch for sure. I remember watching this actually as a teenager in Sweden. Actually, probably before I was a teenager. Yes, I got myself a new VCR. This is a Sony Karaoke VCR, which has a couple of cool functions. It also has this neat cover that you can fold out, and you have all the controllers for the karaoke microphones and some other of the video's functions. And the cool thing about this is that you can actually, instead of using microphones, because I don't think I'm going to use this for karaoke, but you can also, if you have a distortion pedal, you can play with music VHS tapes. So you can connect your guitar and you can hear that through the speakers as well. You can even record what you're doing. So that's pretty cool. So you can actually dub this to if you have two VCRs like I do, you can actually play with for example, my Testament VCR, and I can play the bass to it, and I can record it on the other VCR. I don't know why anyone would want to do that, but you can. And so as you can see, there are many cool connections here. You've got line in and line out, the microphones, there's even an echo control, and there is another connector if you want to add additional effects. So definitely a cool video. And we've got the switch for NTSC and PAL. So actually this video can play any kind of, it can play Japanese NTSC, American NTSC, PAL, you know, all that European stuff. So that's cool. Another surprising find, at least in Thailand, are these US X-rental VHS tapes. You don't see these very often in Thailand, and especially for the price. I paid 35 baht per tape. Now, granted, not all of them are classics. As you saw there, I had Diamondbacks, which is a good example of a non-classic movie. But you can see those classic Be Kind Rewind stickers, which is always nice to see. And yeah, as you can see, these are all X-rentals, and they were in pretty decent condition for being X-rentals. Now, obviously, they've been viewed quite a few times, so they've been well played, so to speak, but they were all in very good condition. And there were I think there were one moldy movie, and there was one that I couldn't watch simply because it was just too worn out, but the others were all good. So that's nice, of course. Now, 35 baht per movie, you can't really go wrong. So I even picked up some movies that I wouldn't really normally be interested in. That's the moldy one, Soldier, with Kurt Russell. Unfortunately, I really wanted to see that one, but that one was moldy. So unfortunately, I won't be able to watch that one. But all the others I could watch. So that's cool. This is Tom Clancy's Net Force, which was a TV miniseries, I believe, and they decided to release it on VHS as a movie. I think it's 3 hours long or something like that. So, but yeah, all of these were always, when I see foreign VHS tapes, I try to pick them up. Here's Black Mask, probably the rarest one of the bunch. Now, these movies here I did not get from Facebook Marketplace. I got them from a local market here in Korat in Thailand. The market is called Save One, and they do have mostly food and, you know, clothes and things that no one cares about. But they do have some secondhand stuff once in a while. And I know some of the sellers, and they know what I want. So I went to this one seller that I normally buy like posters from and things, and he had these to sell. He wanted 100 a piece, and I told him, you know, I can get these for 50 at Facebook Marketplace, you know, but I want to support you, so, you know, I'll pay 60 for them. And he said 70, and I said, oh, okay, you know, I still want to support the local guys. Okay, here's the next batch, and this is Day of the Warrior, as you can see here. This is a movie with Penthouse, and the Playboy centerfolds, and American Gladiators, and the wrestlers as actors. So non-actors in the movie. So good stuff for sure. I also got Raiders of the Lost Ark there, as you can see. I'm checking for mold because this was from a seller that I didn't know very well. And I think there was one moldy tape in the whole bunch, which is not bad considering. These were slightly more expensive. I think I paid 50 or 60 a piece for these, which is still nothing when you look at the big picture. This one, the Specialist, was actually the Thai dubbed version, which was annoying because on the cover it says Thai subtitles, but I guess someone just switched the tapes for some reason. So I actually got the Thai dubbed version here, so I'm going to resell that one. This is my third copy of Universal Soldier. The first one was moldy, and the second one was in a paper cover, which wasn't in very good condition. And now I have this one. Three Kings, a very cool movie, war movie, kind of, or more like an adventure movie set in a war, I would say. 12 Monkeys is, of course, a classic sci-fi. It has that sci-fi and the philosophical things going for it as well. So I like that. Here is from a different seller as well. I got Swordfish here for free, just to balance the package, I think, because I didn't pay for it and it was moldy. So, and he never sells moldy tapes. This was from a seller that I know. I also got Aliens, one of the best movies ever made. I do have the Laserdisc, and I had the DVD back in the day, but now I have the VHS tape, so I'm happy about that. These are all Thai subtitles, by the way. Here we got Deep Blue Sea, which I couldn't see the actual tape inside because of this Be Kind Rewind sticker from Blockbuster. And here is The French Connection. And this is a classic movie, of course. If you haven't seen it and you're into those kind of movies, you should definitely check it out. Bruce Willis and The Sixth Sense. The Thin Red Line, which is more a mix between a poem and a war movie, kind of deep, but also a lot of action in places. So the next one here, I also got very cheap, 35 baht per tape, and there were no molded tapes in the whole bunch here, so I'm really happy about that. This is from a seller that I buy from very often. So it has a lot of cheesy sci-fi action movies. Prototype here, for example, I actually had that one before, but with a different cover. You see, the Thai companies like to license these older 80s movies because they were cheap. So it was easy and cheap to get the license, and then they could just produce them themselves and sell them for a cheap price. This here is Judge Dredd, and it came in this futuristic looking case and tape here. It has that hard plastic sort of cassette tape but bigger style to it, and the blue transparent tape. Here is the other Universal Soldier I talked about earlier, and the Cyborg Cop, as you can imagine, that was a classic. And Undercover, which was basically sexploitation movie, but I'll take it. Some John Travolta stuff, and all in all, I'm very happy with this pickup, and looking forward to watch these movies. Alright, this is the last batch here for this episode, and this is the longest day. This is the 50th anniversary edition, and this is a classic war movie with John Wayne. And this is actually a colorized version of it. The original one was black and white, but this one is in color. They added in color afterwards. They did the same thing with Night of the Living Dead, I believe. Here we got Strange Days, one of the most underrated sci-fi movies, in my opinion. It's like a thriller, and it's set in a very believable, not too distant future. It's a really cool and unique movie, so if you haven't seen it, you should give it a watch. Here is another classic, Heat, of course, and this is another one that I would recommend. All these tapes were in very good condition as well, so happy about that. Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. And The Usual Suspects. This is also a good movie, though it's not as action-filled as some of the other movies here. It's still a good watch if you haven't seen it. And The Last of the Mohicans, which is also a classic in its own right here. Many people love this movie. I also think it's a good movie. Not one that I would watch very often, but it's still a good watch, nevertheless. And finally, we have Tango and Cash, which is obviously Kurt Russell and Sylvester Stallone playing cops. Also a good movie. That's it from me. See ya!